So how good is this new Olivia Dean project? Well, keep listening to find out. Let's go. Welcome to another edition of Coffee and Beats, Season 5 finale of Coffee and Beats. I am your musical barista, Rod the Magnificent. I'm back with another episode of album reviews. I hope you enjoyed my previous episode where I broke down my top 10 albums of 2023 so far. I hope you enjoyed that. And hey, again, I just want to make this clear. If there were some albums that I missed that did not make the cut,
don't worry.
I'll get a chance to revisit some of those projects. And listen, I am not ahead of the curve here when it comes to music. Just want to make that clear. There are so many albums that drop every week. If I dedicated my life to reviewing each and every album that come out,
I would be a madman.
You guys don't want me to be a madman. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like, hit the follow, share this with your loved ones because I'm sure they would all love to hear this. And make a comment. And stay tuned for the end of this show. Yes, I'm dedicating the end of this show. I'm going to put all of you guys who have been following Coffee and Beats for the last 5 seasons, I'm going to put your name in. I'm definitely going to just do a little shout out at the end. You'll just scroll through just wait for your name to come up. You'll see your name come up. For those who support this channel, has been supporting Coffee and Beats since day one. I'm going to do that at the end of the episode just to show you guys my appreciation for you all supporting. So thanks again for watching these episodes, and I'm going to keep it coming. Season 6 is right around the corner. A lot of new music to get to. Enough of me rambling. Let's get to this episode. Why are we here? Because I have a few more albums that I want to recommend before I go into season 6. Before I get into that, just want to do a shout out. A quick shout out, and it's not even necessarily a shout out, it's a rant.
See, Delight, I'm on to you guys.
Delight Creamer, you have some explaining to do. Not only did Delight Creamer get rid of the Cold Stone Creamer, but now
shortening their bottles. What is this? What's all the hip action? Why are you trying to shorten us here?
Delight, y'all think y'all slick. Stop doing that. Get back to the original bottles that y'all was using. I know times is rough, the economy is bad and all that other stuff, but don't cheat us coffee lovers. And that was just my little small rant. Delight, I still love you, creamers. Don't cancel me or anything or try to go hunting for my show. Let's get into these album reviews. And we're going to start off season 5 finale of Coffee and Beats with an album that was brought to my attention from a fan of the show. And that fan of the show is none other than Foodsick. If you're a big hip-hop lover and you like all that good old-fashioned hip-hop, go check out my man's page on Instagram, Foodsick. Check him out. He does a lot of reviews on his channel. This one stopped me in my tracks. This is not necessarily a hip-hop release, but he reviewed it on his page. I said, wow, I got to give this one a shot. Aja Monet, When the Poems Do What They Do. Yep.
When the poems do what they do.
This is the debut album from poet, storytelling, spoken word artist Aja Monet, and she's assisted by so many people that she used for this excellent band that she spits all this poetry from. And this album features 13 songs, clocking in at almost about an hour and a half. So this is a pretty long listen. No, this is not a to-go album. This is not a pull-up listen, pick up your food, and then you keep it moving. This is a sit down. You get into the restaurant, you sit down, you get your drink, you get your appetizer, you get your entree, you get your dessert. That's what you're getting when you get this album. So you're gonna be here for a while. To keep it plain and simple, this is an album that demands your attention. From the moment you hear those thunderous bongos on the opening track I Am, and Aja Monet's thunderous wordplay to the jazzy African rhythms of the track, you're gonna be hooked. You're gonna be hooked right away. It captured my attention. I said, all right, I'm ready. I got my drink. I'm ready to order my appetizer, and I'm about to get into this album. I'm going to be in for some very powerful and funky and groundbreaking music that you'll hear. Aja spins bar after bar, giving you masterful storytelling through spoken word all throughout this album, touching on themes such as relationships, black resistance, the relentless quest of joy, and the most important part of life that how could you not touch on this subject on an album like this, and that is love, because that's what's missing in the world today, and she really tackles that theme very heavily on this project. And if you are a fan of spoken word albums, this album does not sell you short. Overall, I give this album a 9 out of 10. Give this one a shot and watch the poems and the music do what they do.
So what I did.
Up next, we got Meshell Ndegeocello with her latest project, the Omnichord Real Book. And Meshell, I hope I didn't jack up your name. I've been listening to your music for such a long time, and I could never get your last name right. So I hope I got it right. This is the first album released from her for her new record label, Blue Note Records. And this album features many guest appearances, including most notably Josh Johnson and Jeff Parker. And this album features 18 songs. This is another restaurant album. You're gonna have to sit down, you're gonna have to get your entree and all that good stuff. And this clocks in at about an hour. Now, I've been a fan of Meshell's music for quite some time. She is definitely a legend in these music streets. Although the first half of her career was quite controversial, Meshell has been a staple in the neo-soul / jazz department. And here you will experience an album with a lot of depth, a lot of context. With Meshell's monotone vocals, she glides through each and every track effortlessly, with pockets of the album containing smooth jazzy instrumental solos dabbled throughout the track list. My only gripe about this album is that it can be very long-winded and it can lose some flavor in a few pockets of the record. But overall, this is a solid project by Meshell. I'm glad she's back making music. 7 out of 10 for me. I can see this album garnering a few awards by the end of the music season. I wouldn't be surprised if it was nominated for a Grammy, but give this album a shot. I think you will enjoy it. Nice comeback for Meshell here. Up next, we got Little Dragon. This is their 7th studio album, and it features guest appearances from just one person, that is Jid, and the name of this album is called Slugs of Love. This album features 11 songs, clocking in at around 43 minutes. And I've been a day one fan of Little Dragon. I must say, this is one of the very few bands I can say I was listening to them since day one. And that was their self-titled album, of course. And then they had Machine Dreams, Ritual Union, you know the whole story. So I'm not going to go into a deep discography dive on Little Dragon. If you don't know who they are by now, go look them up.
And what have you been doing with your life?
Many critics have been pretty hard on them in regards to their sound. Fans of their first 3 albums, the group was batting 1,000. It's not until the band tried to follow up with Nabooma Rubber Band, which saw Little Dragon take a shot of making a more radio-friendly, pop-friendly album. For example, the lead single off that album, Clap Clap, was a very thunderous first single for the project, but the project as a whole was a little underwhelming for me. They followed up with Season High and Lover Chanting. That was an EP that was a lot more upbeat. And then they also had New Me, Same Us that came out during the pandemic that had more of a very mellow feel to it. Saw them going back to their debut album roots. This effort right here, Slugs of Love, we see Little Dragon going back to their Ritual Union roots with louder production. Yukimi, the lead singer, provided us with very powerful vocal deliveries from track to track. And although it still falls short as a whole of giving us that electricity that Ritual Union provided, this still turned out to be Little Dragon's most solid effort to date. The highlights from this album includes Frisco, the very upbeat and bouncy Slugs of Love, excellent video too to go along with that track. And then Disco Dangerous is good, and I love the JID assisted track Stay, which flowed very smooth. It was a match made in heaven. And although the first half of the album deserves an MVP award, the second half of this record kind of falls short and left a lot to be desired. Songs like Easy Falling didn't quite stick the landing with the closing track. And Glow is okay while it's on, but it doesn't match the same energy of the first half of the project. However, I give this album a 7 out of 10. I like the album. Little Dragon continues to stay consistent, and this album will leave you walking away satisfied. Up next, we got Olivia Dean with her debut album, Messy. This is the debut album from the English singer. The album is already being awarded for being one of the best UK albums to be released this year. And this album features 12 songs, clocking in at around 35 minutes. Now, if you had to compare her vocal delivery, it kind of reminds me of Dua Lipa. However, the production behind her music puts me in the mind of an Amy Winehouse, Back to Black. Not saying that the album is as good as that project, so don't go attacking me in the comment section. I'm just giving you a taste of what to expect with this album going in if you're not familiar with her. Songs like Dive, one of the first singles from the album, is such a feel-good song. Kind of reminds me of Laura Isabor's From My Heart to Yours. Just really uplifting, walking freely down the street singing and the wind blowing and people looking at you, that type of vibe. I really like that. Almost kind of remind you of Belle singing in the beginning of Beauty and the Beast. The song Danger gives us a very groovy track with Dean gliding and dancing vocally throughout the track. And the hardest part is one of the biggest highlights of the album. Basically talks about how times can change people for the better, which could be a detriment to a relationship between two people that started pretty early, maybe in the teenage years, and then their relationship kind of went into their young adulthood. As time progresses, the relationship loses its spunk, so to speak. You know, you kind of being left, man, I wish you were the person back when you were 18, but that's not the case. I'm not 18 anymore, right? And that's basically what she's saying in this song. So I thought it was pretty good. This is definitely a feel-good project, a great way to start off her career. 7.25 out of 10 for me. Solid debut by Olivia Dean, and I'm looking forward to watching her career grow from here. Last but not least, we got Funky DL with his latest release, I Am Reuben. This album is dedicated to Funky DL's older brother, who goes by the name of Reuben, and he sadly lost his life back in 2022. The album features 10 tracks, clocking in at around 33 minutes. This was a very nice surprise from Funky DL, but I must say the production features solid boom bap beats all over this one. From the moment the track Time comes on, he had me at hello. You feel the emotion, the warmth in his lyrics. You can tell that this album took a lot of time for him to make and put a lot of effort into it, because it was dedicated to his brother, in some pockets to his parents as well. This album is very poetic in some pockets. The track So is a perfect example of this, with a hard-thumping, sparkling beat with uplifting storytelling and a DJ Premier-like chorus to put the cherry on top of this one. Please do yourself a favor and give this album a shot. You will thank me later. 8 out of 10 for me for this project. Funky DL, I like the fact that you continue to drop projects that are very clean in content, listenable. You can play this anywhere. I can play this album for my mom if I wanted to, and she wouldn't be frowning one bit. And also, if you're listening, if you are a listener of Coffee and Beats, I just want to say, I want to just give my condolences for your loss. And I just want to encourage you to keep your head up. There's a bright future ahead. But again, appreciate the hard work on this project, and I just wanted to acknowledge it on this platform. And that will do it for this episode of Coffee and Beats. That will do it for season 5 of Coffee and Beats. And I just want to say I really appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving the channel. I appreciate all the interviews that I've been able to do with many of your platforms, YBSN, Coco Weaponry, for a nice interview that I was able to do on Instagram with her. And so again, I just want to say thank all of you for the support. Coffee and Beats is only going to get better. I just want to take this time out to spotlight and shout out some of the supporters of Coffee and Beats right here.